Um, Today's session is about the class. You have to note this very much in the practice, that the space of isness. Now, it's very hard if I am going to talk about this level of realization through a language, because a language is always being spoken out of a place of not so much of an understanding of unity. For unity is a group in language, but for you to understand furthermore that personally Channa can't be enlightened, because that personal parts of it is no longer serve the purpose. So it is very important that some of you are talking about going from something to nothing, but that nothing, what you're saying is not logically should understand. It should be understand in a more level of awareness. So it's very important that in this space that you only exist if you have become identified by yourself. Now, if you see, like when you say that I wanted to become more enlightened being, but your personality still want to be the person who enlightened, it's like most of the teachers talk about, if the enlightenment is the flame, and if the moth moves into the flame and burned, will it moth, when your identification is the moth still has to be there, but it's not. When you merge into the beingness, no longer the personal parts of you will serve the separation of the individuality. It will serve. I will see Matt doing some amazing work, Sylvia doing some amazing work, Jennifer is doing, but they are not out of separation. They are coming in the place of unity. So this is very important today. Observe yourself, that your problems and your things that lies is when you have, I have worked too much, I have done this too much. Be careful of that place, or be aware of that place, not to be careful. So saying that, if you got the space of the energy I'm talking, and eventually when the practice growth, Matt or Channa doesn't have to enter into the practice, because you have merged in and there is only practice. There's only awareness. It will never ever serve out of fear, out of grief, out of ownership, out of pleasure, back again into that place. So now we are going into the deeper place of this understanding and realization, saying that I will move the camera towards Darren. Take a deep breath in and shoulders roll back, and open up that space of the heart. That we are coming into that place of silence. There is no comparison. There is no separation. So very gently you allow the things around you to happen, but your personal perception about the sound, about the body, about the age, about the time is no longer there. So now we are moving from personal to the space of the inner. You can call it peace, you can call it Christ, you can call it Buddha. So now in that moment, there is a consciousness comes out, there is a tolerance to anything. Now you have a different level of understanding the situation you're in. Now your service coming out of love. Now your realization is the space of the Christ. So nothing is now is doing by anger, but out of compassion. Even the breathing, even sitting into this class. And that is the place that is setting us free. Setting us free from what? Our personal story, our personal endeavors, our personal securities. All as this Christmas is coming, all these teachers have come with one intention: to make the truth known. Make the truth available in this present. Make the truth about ourselves. Make the truth about the situation. Now very gently take a deep breath in, breath of compassion, breath of realization, breath of truth. Twist in the spine to the left, stomach very gently pulling in. Breathing in back into the center, shoulders relaxed, chest open, lift up the space of the heart. Change the formation of the legs. Twisting the spine to the opposite direction. Now the movement, the consciousness, the breath, all looking deeply into yourself and into the situation of this present moment. This is the most conscious place that you could be. You're aware about this body, this mind, this situation. Back to the center, shoulders relaxed. Take a deep breath in. Very gently softening the spine, completely breathe out into a seated cat. Breathing in, coming into seated cow, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. You're becoming so mindful that you're not trying to escape anything. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock into the space of the cat. Allow that spine to be curled. Release in the tension of all that separation that carrying in the back. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Opening up the chest, tongue roll up. Breathing in into a neutral space, shoulders relaxed, just open. Stretch the neck to the right. Allow those shoulders to drop. Take a moment to look deeply into the situation and the causes how you at this very moment. Breathing in back into the center. Onto the other side. Breathing in back into the center. When I'm talking about the center, I'm talking about a space that the compassion is arising in us naturally. And we see that the other person, that we are struggling. The struggle comes whether it's to be helped, not to punish, because we are punishing them, this self that has entered into the practice. Breathing in back into the center, shoulders relaxed, chest open. Arms rest onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up, gentle stretch into the back, elbow stretch. Try to keep the spine not force erect, but in a gentle space of that erection. And gently stretching the arms behind the head. Breath out, spread the wings wider and coming into the Garudasana, right arm on the top. Now shoulders relax and stabilize the scapula. Breathe out to a space of a cat in the Garudasana. Gently get that elbow moving towards the navel. Hunch in the back, shoulders roll into the front. Back of the neck is totally relaxed. Breathing in, spread the wings wider, twist the spine to the right side. Drop the knees, breathing in back into the center. Shoulders relax and chest open. Arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Stretch behind the ears. Keep the spine erect, firm yet not force. Breathing in, spread the wings wider, Garudasana, left on the top. Looking deeply into the space. Ways that you're transforming your anger, prejudice, discrimination, your practice from the separation into the space of unity. Take a deep breath out into the space of the cat. Breathing in, coming into the center, spread the wings wider, twisting the spine on the out, breath onto the left. Now you understand the mechanism of your brain and your body. Then you understand the other, that they have the same problem that if you don't have the realization. The lack of understanding creates suffering. Breathing in back into the center. Shoulders relaxed, just so come into a moment that the understanding is the most important thing to liberate us. So the mind has all the locks, understanding have all the keys to open the, otherwise the door to the prison of suffering will be always there. If you don't practice more of the understanding, not just on the posture, not just on the breath. Now breathing in back into the center. Shoulders relax and chest open. Very gently moving into the knees. Walk the palms into the front. Shoulders relax. Give a good rotation to the hips and allow that space of the digestion without a separation, the pace of the realization. Looking deeply, calmingly, understanding better of this. Each seed opens up another seed, and that seed is the God. The Buddha nature. Onto the other side. Now very gently take a deep breath in, push the hips into the front. Now deep breath out, very gently pushing the hips into the back, palms facing. Now the seed of understanding. Of this understanding, whatever you call love, because why I call love, it does not have a separation. When most of the time on the Christ teaching or all the teachings, love your enemy means what? The separation that you have. Even you have done something bad and the good part condemning the bad part. And what loving for me is your enemy is bringing that together. Even our enemy is cruel or our thought is cruel. Even that same part out of guilt is crushing us, showing terror and injustice. Does not serve the purpose. I'm talking about ourselves. We have to love that part. This is the message of the Jesus. If you want to celebrate the Christmas, please celebrate this. If we want to understand where that thought, that person relate to that thought or situation of that rules, we have to understand why is that way? How has it come like this? Why does not it see things the way I do? Then you understand. Understanding a person brings us the power to love ourselves more. Palms facing down now, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Now drop the belly, soften the hips. Soften the hips. Shoulders roll back, breathing in into a gentle cobra. Overlook into the left side. Out of separation. Breathing in, overlook into the right side, out of separation. And this moment we accept the moment we have realized and come into the center. So breathing in, coming to the center. There is no longer a separation. There is no longer an enemy. Breath in. Very gently relax onto the floor. Breathing in into up face. Elevate the posture against the gravity. It's an important component for the transformation of this posture. Breathe out into a gentle down phase. Now bending the knee very gently, softening the body very gently, allowing the breath also to take the shape of, allow the posture to take the shape of the elongated breath. Allow the posture to take out the outgoing breath, so you understand better and better, even through the breath, even through the body, even through the thought, even through the mind. Now take a deep breath in, very gently coming into a plank, strong on the plank. Breathing in the plank, elongate the spine, breathe out towards the down face. So very gently, you're moving into those spaces. Breathing in into a plank. Drop the knees. Very gently rotate the hips wider. Wider. Allow that breath to move through into that space. Now don't think the universe is not me and the world is not me, or just don't exist on those areas, just as a unity. Onto the other side. Don't even think I'm the mini version of the universe, I'm the mini version of the world. Push the hips into the front, breathe out. Push the buttocks into the back palms facing up. Now this is a good understanding, especially for those people who have that faith on forgiveness. Even the Christ explained that. Forgive us our trespasses. So we forgive those who trespass against us. And to understand this forgiveness, you have to understand how much mistakes everyone do. And we are mindful of them. Some sort of actions may cause others to suffer because of us. Some sort of actions has made us suffer because of the other. Now this is the time before lighting any of those Christmas trees. Bring that light of forgiveness. We want to begin new. So I have this part. Also, I have to work with my siblings. Have wronged me in the past. I have wronged them in the past. Now I understand that was because either myself or they were suffering and did not see clearly. Especially I had my brother on Monday night just dropping by, and it was not the best conversations we had. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest onto the floor. Drop the belly, soften the hips. Now breathing in into an up phase, elevate against the gravity, and you're turning the body onto the left, overlooking to the left shoulder. So drop the shoulder and open up yourself more. Breathing in back into the center, onto the other side. Breathing in back into the center. Shoulders roll back. Drop the body onto the floor. Relax onto the floor. Stretch the leg properly. Now very gently left leg up into the back. Lift up the leg. Turn onto the left bit more. Turn while the chest onto the floor. You rotate the hip onto the left, more to the left. Now left knee onto the left chest, breathe out. Now very gently drop it. Now very gently left leg stretch onto the left side, if you can. Now, if you want to keep the elbows onto the floor, breathing in into gentle cobra, just from the elbows, shoulders relax and chest open. And allow those areas no longer feel that agitation towards you. You cannot force yourself, but your breath of understanding coming in to accept that. Only when you understand what has happened, has also happened in the body. And at this very moment, you have compassion for the other, or maybe compassion for yourself, to forgive him or her. A part of that forgiveness is bringing you the understanding of awareness. When you have come into this place of the mindfulness, you see many causes that has led the other out of the separation to make you suffer. Or when you see this forgiveness and realize arise naturally, putting the teachings of the Christ or Buddha into the practice is always a greater way to understand furthermore than our individual self calling Christ or Buddha. Breathing in very gently, coming back, shoulders relaxed, chest open. Now left knee to the chest. And stretch back onto the floor. Now take a deep breath in, right leg up. First you lift up the leg, up. Then turn the hip towards the right. Turn towards the right. So over the other foot you can turn, over the other foot. That's it. Right knee to the right chest, breathe out. Now settle there. Now take a deep breath in. Once you have opened up the hips, the tension, right leg stretching onto the right side. Right leg stretch onto the right side, elbows onto the floor, breathing in into a gentle cobra. Breathing in gently, coming knee to the chest. Very gently stretch the leg back. Now arm stretching to the front, Legs stretch into the back. Now take a deep breath in. Arms and feet and the legs lift up out of the floor. Stronger breathe. Breathe and relax onto the floor. Turn the head onto one side and then turn the head onto the other side. Now this is a time to reflect on uneasiness of anything. I know a lot of people have left temples and churches because young people, you could see, they have lost a lot of that, because the young people do get a lot of knowledge to transform into openness, but maybe these level of the temples and the churches are not have transformed into the level of understanding that young people need. So this is a time to understand those difficulties that so this is a time to practice in a way that will help to go back to your own truth, rerouting back, because you cannot float all around. So the importance of a transformation has to be rooted somewhere. But a transformation is you have to take the teachings and transform yourself, not waiting the church or a temple. But knowing that tradition, truth is important. What Buddha really awakened into, what Christ awakened into. Not necessary if they cannot meet your expectation. You need to work within yourself to come into that understanding. Now take a deep breath in, arms stretching to the back, holding onto the ankles, releasing the tension. Take a deep breath in and coming into a bow pose. Take a deep breath in, bring the heels closer to the buttocks, and give a little bit of pressure into the feet and massage the feet, and very gently release it. So this is a new year coming. It is very important for you to have a practice within, and also the practice that you can be reminded of. Now, as you see, I have an altar, so I light my incense before your class. So it's very important that I connect back into my ancestral offering to those spaces. When you ask me for a healing, I always light and get those connections back. Now turn the head on to the other side. Now take a deep breath in, back into the center, palms onto the chest level, breathing in into a gentle up face. Shoulders relax, more of the space of the heart. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in into a plank. Now in the plank, bringing that left knee onto the left chest. Breathing into a plank. So it's a bit more harder. Left knee onto the left elbow. Breathing in into a plank. Now right knee onto the right elbow in the plank. Breathing in, stretch back. Right knee onto the left elbow. Stronger on the pelvic floor, stretch back into a plank. Now breathe out towards the down face. Shoulders relax, stretch from your arms a little bit more. That's it. Head relax, breathing in into a plank. And drop the knees and very gently stretch the spine into the back. Palms facing up. Shoulders relax. And chest open. Now at this moment, I want you to understand little teachings that has given to you by your tradition. In a level of your understanding, it's meeting, and you're seeing the benefits from those teachings, and you're revisiting those areas to understand furthermore. So nowadays, let's provide you a little text to transform you from your suffering, or looking deeply at this. You can learn the art of uniting that consciousness into a living beauty. Or you can take the wonderful precepts of the Buddhism, reverence to life, generosity, responsible for sexual behaviors, speaking and listening deeply, and ingesting only that wholesome substance. Now very gently, palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Overlooking onto the left side, overlooking onto the right side. Breathing in back into the center and relax onto the floor. Now, very gently, arms stretch into the back, clasp the hands in the back, and take a deep breath in and lifting up that chest. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now relax, let go. Drop, allow the head to turn onto a side. Back into the center, onto the other side. This is a very good time to understand the mind is the base of all the actions. So coming to that place of the realization. Back into the center, onto the knees, and very gently coming into a place of a cat. Completely breathe out. Anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Now breathing in into a neutral spine, left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Left arm reaching under the armpit. Drop, drop, drop. Now either right arm stretch into the front, and if you have stretched into the front, very gently get the right arm going up into the ceiling, onto the sacrum. In that way, you're releasing the tension deeply in this present moment. Breathing in, stretching the arm up to the ceiling, into the front, gently coming back, breathe out to the cat. Neutral spine. Now to the other side. Very gently, same understanding and the realization when you practice. Let the practice take you deeply, opening up, moving into that space of the understanding, allowing the body to go further, creating that space of generosity into the body with breath, with time. Let the practice be very generous and really being present to the practice. This is a time to understand if you have overworked. You have to ask the consciousness, why have I overworked? Is there a great need to overwork? Have these last few months you taken refuge in your work in order to avoid confronting your real sorrows and inner turmoil? Or you're expressing your love and care for others by working hard, and you do not have time for the people you really love. Have you made yourself available to those who need you? Or you're finding harder to say that you love them? Because really the truth is true love needs that consciousness. To acknowledgement of this presence of the person is important. It's not writing a Christmas card or using the word darling and all that. Very gently coming out of that preoccupation and your forgetfulness. Very gently into the place of the cat. So to acknowledge the presence of your beloved, you have to offer your own presence without that practice of separation. Drop the belly, opening up that chest. Very gently give a good rotation and shake the things that no longer you want to carry on to the next year. Releasing the tension, wider rotation. Onto the other side, give that mindful time spent. And give your real understanding, that expression of your real understanding into the cells of your body, the real expressions of your truth, your expressions of real generosity into that space. Every cell will vibrate from that place of healing. Push the hips into the front, into the back, and very gently into a child pose. So this is a time, if you really wanted to give someone a gift in these times, the greatest gift is you can offer is your true presence without the separation of the identity, without the separation of this is son, this is mother, your true presence. Very gently, crown of the head onto the floor, lifting up the buttocks and get you then pituitary and the pineal energy to come into that place of the alignment of your realization. Now roll back and the fist on the third eye. Allow that field of collective consciousness to come into that place. Body also happens to be the mind, mind also happens to be the body. Violation of the body is the violation of the mind. Violation of the mind is the violation of the body. So this is a very good time to see any violation happens when we are not in the communion between the body and the spirit. Now very gently waking up the spine, one vertebra at a time, shoulders relax, chest open. Stretch the neck to the right, back to the center, stretch the neck to the other side. Back to the center. Now very gently lifting up onto the knees. Take a deep breath in, shake those arms and release the tension. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back, onto the sacrum. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back. And you're practicing the Uttarasana, the camel pose. Now, if you want to keep the toes and lift up the heels and land it there, that's up to you. Push the hips into the front, lift up the space of the heart, and breathe very well. And a gentle arch. When you're ready, support the hips. Completely breathe out towards a child pose. Now, this is a good time. A lot of you ask whether I have a conflict with separations of religions. No, I don't. In my altar, I have Christ, I have Buddha, and I no longer have a conflict within me. Instead, I actually feel stronger the more I add more things. So this is a time to understand. As we have the know-how to marry each other, a lot of people are marrying. So also with our benediction, we can encourage these times to practice all traditions. Whatever enrich each other will enrich you. Now very gently waking up the spine one vertebra at a time. Shoulders relax and just open. Now stretch the legs into the front and give a good shake onto the legs. Release the tension, releasing those shackles and coming into the place of understanding. Very gently, that part of when the mind is too occupied, it destroys the friendship with the body or the relationship with the body. Or when body becomes so strong, it destroys the relationship with the mind and the whole thing. So this is a very good understanding with the breath and the communion with the mind and body without the separation. You're creating a loving space. So there is no broken areas. So you're lighting in this Christmas the whole space of the Trinity. Sometimes your speech, sometimes your knowledge can be irresponsible and destroy you from these connections. Now very gently, sole of the feet together, knees wide apart. Very gently listening into those space of the barriers that has come into walls, and look deeply and very gently releasing those tensions. Misunderstanding that exists between so sometimes so-called things can be separating you. So bring that unity and the communication. Now very gently, knees to the chest, completely breathe out. Breathing in into an Navasana. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Breathing in. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Breathing in. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Breathing in. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Breathing in, chin up. Breathe out. Breathing in, knees to the chest. Now very gently coming onto the Sitting position, shoulders relaxed. Recognize the breath in this present. Recognize any emotion without trying to suppress or without forcing to express. Just bring the energy of your mindfulness to your space of what you're observing. Allow your consciousness and awakened space to take care of so always is. So Mother Nature's the child when it cries. Whatever you're doing, coordinate everything with your breath. This is a great care for if you're agitated through these times. Person, agitation always arouses if you're there. And no longer you do not exist. Agitation does not exist because it's personal. Breathing in into this space of isness, recognizing the feeling, very gently allowing the breath to move out. That is the bridge to feeling calm. Now it allows you to see into the nature of the roots of the suffering that you have. Take this moment to look deeply and allow that insight. The more you're looking into the deep, the more insight. The flavor of the insight is felt in the breath. Truth about yourself, truth about the person who you thought to be causing of your suffering. I'll allow the practice today to transform the conditioned roots. When it transforms in you, it transforms actually the other. So maybe today's practice, when you're speaking, you're coming on that place of transformation. So now the awareness is so rising. Suffering caused by unmindful consumption of thoughts are not there. Aware of suffering caused by unmindful emotions no longer there. Aware of suffering caused by the other is not there. So each breath is a breath of health. to both physicality and mentality, to yourself, to your family, to your community, to your world, to your universe without separation. So this is a time in these holiday season. Observe mindfully you're consuming, whether it's drinking, food. And preserve that space of the peace, well-being, and the joy in the mind and the body and in your consciousness and in this collective body and the consciousness of family, community. Now breathing in very gently, arms raised onto the ground, cleansing the space and the aura that has worked to transform all levels of fear, anger, violence, confusion in yourself, in your family, and in your community. Very gently, palms onto the ground. Understanding that crucial for self-transformation and for the transformation of the family, community, world, whatever you want to feel, thinking. Anyways. Third eye. Throat. Heart. Now your future generation is generating from these places. Solar plexus, presence of your understanding. Navel. Your body is healthy is the best way you express your gratitude for the whole cosmos. Ground to the earth, into the Muladhara, to all the ancestors and also all the futures in the past and the present. Arms raised onto the ground. As much as you're in the practice, everyone else can benefit from it. Onto the heart. And open up that shell of the heart of your small self. And you will see that you are interrelated to everyone and everything. And that your every act is linked with the whole of the human kind and the whole cosmos. So keeping in this season yourself healthy in a body and a mind is to keep all beings in that space of transition. Namaste to you all. Namaste. Thank you so much for. Where's Liz gone? So thank you for this beautiful practice.